Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, all right? Today, we're talking about creating milestones. Are you ready? Let's get started. Well, I guess I'll make this public. I've recently celebrated a milestone birthday. I guess it got me thinking a little bit about milestones. Did you know that if you look up the word milestone in the dictionary, there are two basic definitions that are actually quite different. The first of those is the definition of a milestone is a stone to mark distance. So literally, mile markers that you see on the road today are the current version of a stone every so often to mark distance. But a milestone, according to my Merriam-Webster dictionary, is also defined as a significant point in development. A significant point in development. So I'm not talking today about the set stones it's the calendar that changed my age, right? I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about significant points in our development. So let's think about how we would create significant points in development. And we could think about that like we think about projects. And this is not going to be a complete exposition on project management, but even if you know only a little bit about projects, you know there are some things you have to answer to get started and be successful. First of all, you have to know what is the goal. What's the goal of this project? Where are we trying to go? What are we trying to accomplish? Which leads us to, related to the goal, is what's the desired outcome? What do we want things to be like when we get there? What's the desired outcome? If we don't have the goal and the desired outcome, our project will not succeed. Next, what is the plan? Once you know where you're trying to go, what are the steps to move in that direction? What is your project plan? Again, some of us are better at it than others, but we all know, at least conceptually, that we got to build a plan. And once we have plans, we have what? Milestones, the steps along the way in the plan that move us in the direction of that desired outcome. So, there's project management in like a minute and a half, but my question for you is this: what is your self-project? What is your self-project? Do you have a goal? Do you have a desired outcome? Do you have a plan? If we want to create milestones in our life, we don't just wait for the calendar to turn, but rather to be intentional and conscious about saying, here's where I want to get. Here's my plan to getting there. And that leads us to some new milestones. Let me close with today's tweet. External milestones like birthdays are useful for reflection, but internal milestones can drive our growth, development, and success. Well, driving your growth, development, and success is one of the goals of the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. And you might be listening to this on that podcast, but if you're watching me on a Remarkable TV episode, you might want to join the podcast, because the podcast is more than just episodes like this, but it's longer descriptions, conversations, interviews with expert leaders and leadership experts. Hope you'll join us for a future episode. And if you're listening to the first one, hope you'll come back. And if you haven't, I hope you'll join us for a future episode. And again, we'll be back here next week, like every week, whether you're watching Remarkable TV or whether you're watching or listening to the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.